Welcome back to the Southern Scene on WSAV. Well, it's time to talk to Tate on Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for your questions. So we bring those questions to you. Mark, you ready to go?
I'm ready to roll. Let's do it.
Okay, let's see what Savannah's thinking.
Hey Mark, I have a question for you. Will gay marriage ever be legalized in Georgia? If so, when?
Okay, another great question,
Sure.
but very controversial.
It is controversial still. We have in the United States Constitution the full faith and credit clause, which says that each state must give full faith and credit to the laws of other states. And so once some states commence to recognize same-sex marriage, I think that it's eventually going to take root across the country. I think there's going to be recognized same-sex union throughout the country. And the fact of the matter is that once you get over the evangelical dogma against a same-sex marriage, I think that it's probably a positive step. First of all, they pay more taxes. If anyone wants to go ahead and pay higher tax rates because of what they call the marriage penalty, that's fine with me. But benefits extend to them. Healthcare benefits, retirement benefits, the benefits that may accrue to spouses who have to deal with intestate succession. These types of things, acquiring property, disposing of property, all become better. And I think and easier for a couple whose union is recognized. And we're not talking about a religiously recognized union. All of the people who still are terrified that a same-sex marriage is some way going to denigrate their opposite-sex marriage, they can still cling to their religious ceremonies. And
Don't you think it comes down to that one word, though, that bothers a lot of people, marriage? I mean, with the definition being, marriage between, a man and a woman.
Yeah, that's the way people want to define it, absolutely. But I think that, what we're talking about is whether they can be recognized by the state. We're not saying, the Catholic Church has to recognize a same-sex marriage. We're not saying that the Presbyterian Church does. We're not talking about, religious activities. We're talking about the secular recognition of a union. That's it. Can two women go down to the Chatham County Probate Court and get a marriage license? That is sanctioned by the state. And, just like, the civil rights era, we look back and say, good God, can you believe we ever denied black people the right to vote? Before that, people look back and say, can you believe we ever denied women the right to vote? I think that in a very, very short time, we'll look back and say, God, what was wrong with us? We were worried about a same-sex union when we had to actually be focusing on things like making sure that, the working poor weren't also the working sick. But the fact is that the states should be recognizing same-sex unions, and I think they will.
So what's the current law in Georgia right now?
It does not recognize it. It doesn't recognize it.
And do you think that we'll see that change over a period of time?
I think so. I think as the the old white men with gray hair move on to the great hereafter, I think that we'll start to see younger, more tolerant, more progressive people take control and start to shape the future. And I think that's going to be a positive thing, where we really are focusing on real issues, things that really matter, rather than trivialized wedge issues to try to bring out votes that really are based on hatred and dissent.
You make such a great point. Gives us a lot to think about. Thanks
All right,
a lot,
well,
Mark.
good. Thank you, Natalie.